today's lecture is about Vernier caliper. Objectives. First and foremost, I'm going to start by doing an introduction to Vernier caliper. After that, I'm going to show you how to use the Vernier caliper. Lastly, I'm going to do some examination questions that fall under Vernier caliper. Okay, now let's look at this important part of a Vernier caliper. So we need to know a Vernier caliper by definition. So what's a Vernier caliper? A Vernier caliper is simply a measuring device that is used for the measurement of diameters of round objects with the help of the measuring jaws. So apart from a Vernier caliper measuring diameters of round objects, it can also measure the length, width, and the depth of objects, and also the inner and outer diameter of objects such as a ring, tube, or even a cylinder. So this is how a Vernier caliper looks like. Note that a Vernier caliper is made up of two sets of jaws. We have the inside jaws and the outside jaws. So when we talk of the inside jaws, we're talking about these two small upper jaws, which are used for measuring internal dimensions. And then when we talk of the outside jaws, we're talking of these two long jaws, which are made up of the fixed jaw and the movable jaw, and they're used for measuring external dimensions. Note that on your left hand side you're having a fixed jaw, so this one doesn't move, it's fixed. But here on the right hand side, this is a movable jaw, so this one can slide with the help of the screw on the main scale. Apart from the jaws, we have the main scale here, which is fixed. And then apart from this, we have the Vernier scale. This Vernier scale we are seeing here, it's movable. Note that this screw you are seeing here, it's the one that makes this Vernier scale to be movable. In other words, the screw makes the Vernier scale to slide over the main scale. And this Vernier scale, it can be fixed at any point on the main scale. And this same Vernier scale provides accurate reading on the main scale. And then this long thing you are seeing here, it's used for measuring the depth of objects. So this is the information that you need to know on your Vernier caliper. Now let's look at this important part on how to use the Vernier caliper. So I'm going to show you how you can come up with accurate reading of the Vernier caliper. So we are having 4 steps here. We are having 4 steps. Step 1, you need to put an object to be measured between jaws. So any object that you want to measure, either it can be a cylinder or a tube, or it can be a ring, you need to place it in between the jaws. So if you want to measure the external diameter, you need to put it under the two long lower jaws. If you want to measure the internal diameter, you need to put it on the upper small jaws. And then the second thing, lead the main scale before the 0 mark of the Vernier scale. So for you to come up with the main scale leading, you need to obtain that leading before the 0 mark. And I'm sure you're going to understand this when we do an example on this. Then the third thing, after that, look at the Vernier scale. So after obtaining the main scale before the 0 mark of the Vernier scale, you need to look at the Vernier scale and find a marking on the Vernier scale that is in line with the main scale. So on the Vernier scale, you just have to look for a line that is found in both the Vernier scale and in the main scale. Or in other words, you need to find a line that is coinciding, or a line that is found in both the main scale and the Vernier scale. So that's how you come up with the Vernier scale. After that, after finding the main scale and the Vernier scale, you need to add the main scale reading and the Vernier scale reading. Then you are done. So that's how you can come up with the accurate reading. Now let's do some examples so that you can understand fully. Remember, on step 1 I said something like you need to put an object to be measured in between the jaws, which is step 1. Step 2, you need to come up with the main scale leading. So take a look here. Have you seen this part? it's the one which has been magnified, which is looking like this. And then this top part, it's a main scale. The down part, it's a Vernier what? Scale. So if you want to obtain the main scale reading on step 2, you need to obtain the main scale reading before the 0 mark of the Vernier what? Scale. Before the 0 mark of the Vernier scale, this side. Not after this 0, but before the 0 mark of the Vernier scale. So how can you obtain it? So here, you need to come here in the main scale. You take note of the number which is here. So this is 1. So what can be this? So it will be 1.1, 1.2. So the answer here is 1.2. So the reading in the main scale is 1.2. You just have to obtain it before the 0 mark, not after, but before the 0. So here the main scale reading is 1.2 centimeter. So it's obtained before the 0 mark of the what? Vernier scale. Hope it's clear on the main scale. Then step 3, how do you obtain the Vernier scale reading? You need to come down here, and then you need to look for a line which is found on both the Vernier scale and the main scale. The line which is coinciding meaning it's appeared in both on the Vernier scale and in the what? Main scale. So which line is that? You need to come here at 0. So you start counting now. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to stop here on 5. Why? Because 5, it's a mark, or it's a line which is found on the Vernier scale and in the what? Main scale. So here, this 5, I'm not going to write just 5 like that. I'm going to multiply 5 by 0.01 in centimeters. Why? Because the accuracy of a Vernier caliper in centimeters, it's 0.01. So they even indicate if it's in centimeters like this, you need to multiply the Vernier scale reading by 0.01. If I told you were millimeters here, something like millimeters, I would have multiplied this 5 with 0.1 in millimeters. Now here it's in centimeters. So if you multiply 0.01 centimeter times the 5 you're from obtaining, you're going to get something like 0.05 centimeter. So the Vernier scale reading, it's 5, but if you multiply it 0.01 centimeter, it's going to give you 0.05 centimeter. So that's the Vernier what? Scale. So don't forget, once you obtain the Vernier scale, you need to multiply it with the accuracy of the Vernier caliper in what? Centimeters. It depends. If they're giving you in millimeters, you can use 0.1 millimeters. But if they're giving you centimeter, but mostly it's given what? In centimeters. So you need to use 0.01. After that, step 4, what do you do? Step 4, you need to add the main scale reading plus the Vernier scale reading. So our main scale reading was 1.2 centimeter plus the Vernier scale, which is 0.05 centimeter. The answer is going to give us 1.25 what? Centimeter. So this is how you obtain the readings under the what? Vernier caliper. So this is the actual answer, the final what? Answer. Hope it's clear. Now let's do another example so that you can understand fully. Question 1. Vernier calipers are used to measure wooden cubes A and B as shown below. What is the width of the cubes? So they want the width of the cubes. In this case, they are measured in the wooden what? Cubes, the diameter of the cubes. So let's start with question 1. So the first thing, we need to come up with the main scale. After that, the Vernier, and then we add, then we are done. So let's come up with the main scale. So this is the main scale, that's the Vernier scale. So how do you obtain the main scale reading? We obtain it before the 0 mark of the Vernier scale. I'm sure you can remember this. So you need to come here. What number is it? That's 10. So 10.1. Just here, I'm going to end because this is the 0. So I obtain it before the 0 mark. So that's 10.1. So for the main scale reading, main scale is equal to 10.1 centimeter. They have even given us in centimeters there. And then second thing, I need to find the Vernier scale. How do I obtain the Vernier scale? I need to look for a line which is appearing both on the Vernier scale and in the main scale. And which line is that one? It's this one. This is the line which is coinciding or found in both in the Vernier scale and the main scale. So how do I know this number? I need to come to this first. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6. But here I'm not going to write 6 on the Vernier scale. I'm not going to write 6 here. I need to multiply that 6 with 0.01 centimeters. So 6 times 0.01 in centimeter. This is the accuracy of the Vernier caliper in centimeter. So after multiplying this times this, we're going to get something like 0.06 centimeter, like that. Once you are done, we need to add these two, the main scale plus the Vernier scale. So here we need to add these two. After adding these two, we're going to come up with the final reading, or the actual reading. So final reading. So what is 10.1 centimeter plus 0.06 centimeter? So we're going to get something like 10.16 centimeter. So this is the final reading. Then you are done. So let's come to B. So this was our A. We're done. Now let's do B. So for B, we need to obtain first the main reading. After that, the Vernier we add, then we are done. So let's come here now. So how can you obtain the main reading here? You need to know the number which is here. How can you know the number you haven't been given? So if you haven't been given, you need to come to this number here. This number is 6. So this is 6. So this is telling me here there is 7. This side, so this one is 5. This one is 5. Because here there is 6. So 6, 7. And then behind here, so we have 5 here. So what do we do? So this is just 5, because this 5 is before the 0 mark. So the main reading here of the main scale reading, sorry, is what? 5 centimeter. After that, we need to come up with the Vernier scale reading. How do you come up with the Vernier scale reading? You need to come down here on the Vernier scale. You look for a line which is coinciding, found both on the Vernier scale and the main scale. And that line is this one. So how do you know the number? You come here on the 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So 3. I'm not going to write 3 here. I'm going to multiply that 3 with 0.01 centimeter. So when you multiply 3, so 3 times 0.01 centimeter, what am I going to get? I'm going to get something like 0.03 centimeter. After that, I need to add these two. To come up with what? Final reading. So here, what is 5 centimeter plus 0.03 centimeter? You're going to get something like 5.03 centimeter. So this is the final, or the actual. Now let's do an exam question. Okay, so figure 1.1 below shows the Vernier caliper indicating a measurement. So we need to study this Vernier caliper. So if you can remember, this top part, this short jaws are called the inside jaws. They are used for measuring internal dimensions or internal diameter of objects. This one is the outside jaws, used for measuring external diameter of objects, or in other words, measures the width or the diameter or the thickness of oval-shaped objects. This one. So now let's come to the question. A1. Which jaw, A or B, can be used to measure thickness of a wire nail? So which one between the two? The answer is what? B. It's one which can be used to measure the external diameter dimensions or the width of the shaped objects. This one it's for internal dimensions. So the answer here is what? B. Okay, this is just 1 mark. You just have to indicate if it's A or B. It's B, and I've given you the reason for that. So let's go to A2. Explain the function of the Vernier scale in this instrument. So what's the function of the Vernier scale, and which one is the Vernier scale here? So the Vernier scale is this one, which is movable, and then the main scale is this one here. You're seeing here, this is the main scale. So what's the function of the Vernier scale? So I talked about a Vernier scale being movable. It moves with the help of the what? The screw. So this reading of the main scale, what determines the reading of the main scale? It's the Vernier what? The Vernier scale. This Vernier scale, it's movable, so it determines the reading of the main scale. Or in other words, the Vernier scale, it provides the accuracy. It provides accuracy reading of the main scale. So that's the answer here. So the Vernier scale provides accuracy reading of the main scale. So that's the answer. You don't even have to stress here because this is 1 mark. So it provides accuracy reading of the main scale. Just like that, we are done. This is 1 mark. Okay, now let's do A3. What is the reading indicated in the diagram? So how can you read this reading here? How can you come up with the final reading now? So first thing, we need to come up with the main scale. How can you come up with the main scale? And which one is the main scale here? The main scale is this one here. The main scale is this one on top. The Vernier, this one down here. So how can you read the main scale first? So main scale, let's come up with the main scale first. Main scale, how do you obtain the main scale? Have you seen? You need to obtain it before the 0 mark here of the Vernier scale. So this is 1, and here there is 2. Have you seen? And between 1 and 2 there is this one here. This is 5. So this is 1, 1.1, 1.1.3, 1.4. Before it becomes 5, which means here there is 1.4. So this is 1.4 before the 0 mark. This one. So this is 1.4 centimeter, like that. Now what about the Vernier scale? The Vernier scale, we need to look for the one number which is coinciding, which is appearing both on the Vernier scale and in the what? The main what? Scale. So here we're going to come here. This 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's here 6. So here you won't write 6, you multiply it with 0.01 centimeter, which is going to give us 0.06 centimeter, like that. And then here, what do? We need to add these two for us to come up with what? Final what? Reading. So what is 1.4 plus 0.06? Okay, so the final answer is 1.46 centimeter. So after adding these two, the main scale plus the Vernier scale, we're going to get 1.46 centimeter. So that's the final answer. As simple as that. Okay, so this is your task. You can do this at your own time. If you have any questions, you can contact me. There is a WhatsApp number there, and you're also having another question, so you can go through this type of questions so that in an exam you will be safe and you'll be able to answer this type of questions in an exam. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you for watching.